everyone, I'm Drew Goldfarb, and welcome to this All-Star Week edition of Betting for the Cycle. We're giving you 4 picks for upcoming baseball games, matchups, or prop bets, and trying to go 4 for 4 to bet for the cycle. So here's how this works in case you're not familiar yet. I'll be posing 4 potential wagers or daily fantasy comparisons. Our experts and I will each give you our picks and rank them based on how confident we are in the outcome. Least confident pick will be our single, most confident pick, our home run. We'll each have a pick we consider to be a home run, a triple, a double, and a single each and every week, giving us a chance at betting for the cycle. Our individual stats are being tracked all season long. You'll see those pop up on the screen as well. This week, as every week, I'm joined by Taylor Smith and Jim Baviglia. Guys, we're going to kick things off with a series pick. The All-Star break won't begin until Monday, so still a full weekend of games to be played. Los Angeles Dodgers have a stranglehold on the NL West right now with the Rockies, Diamondbacks, and the Padres all hanging out around the 500 mark and battling for second. Colorado and Arizona square off this weekend in Phoenix. So which team wins this 3-game series, Taylor?
Starting it off, going bold, I'm going to make this my home run. I'm going to take Arizona. I think the Rockies ultimately wind up ahead of the Diamondbacks in the division, but as it stands right now, they have Greinke and Robbie Ray going in the first 2 games of the series. I think that shapes up well for Arizona. Colorado's got Antonio Senzatella, John Gray, and Chichi Gonzalez as of now slated to pitch. The Rockies are considerably worse offensively outside of Coors, of course. Just based on the pitching, I think that's enough to swing it in favor of Arizona, so I'm making them my home run.
Jim, how about you?
Yeah, I felt this was the kind of the something's got to give pick because the Rockies aren't very good on the road and the Diamondbacks aren't very good at home. So I looked at the pitching matchups like Taylor, and I think the second and the third pitching matchups, they're pretty tight. But that first pitching matchup where you have Zach Greinke against Senzatella, that is a huge edge for the Diamondbacks. So if nothing else, that tilts the series in the Diamondbacks' favor. They probably win that first game, so then they just have to win one out of the second 2. So I'm not quite as confident. I am going to go with the Diamondbacks. I'm going to make it my triple.
I'm going to be grabbing Colorado in this series, and I'm picking them as my triple like Jim was taking his pick as a triple. Rockies are 8-2 against Arizona this season, winning 8 straight meetings between the two clubs. Colorado has won 10 of the last 14 games against the Diamondbacks dating back to last summer. 9-3 in games played in Arizona since the start of the 2018 season. First pitching matchup does favor Arizona, as you guys both mentioned. Zach Greinke going up against Antonio Senzatella, but I don't honestly love the other 2 projected matchups either. But when you look at it, Colorado is 3-0 in games against Greinke this season, 2-1 against games started by Robbie Ray. So I'm taking the Rockies to take 2 of 3 here and win the series. We will see how that plays out, of course. Question 2, we're turning to the All-Star Game festivities. Monday night, it's the MLB Home Run Derby. As of this recording, 2 rookies scheduled to participate in the event. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, Pete Alonso of the New York Mets. So Jim, which rookie will advance farther in this year's Derby? If we need a tiebreaker, if they're not head-to-head and they are eliminated in the same round, we'll go with home runs hit when they're eliminated.
Yeah, I was going to do some scouting and try to find out how the batting practice pitchers are for these 2 guys because I think that plays into the home run derby as much as anything else. I'm trying not to overthink this. I mean, you've got Alonso, who already has set the Mets rookie home run record halfway through the season. Guerrero, right now his strength, it feels like to me, is his ability to make contact more than his power. He does have a beautiful power stroke, and I think as he advances in his career, I think we'll see that more. The thing that worries me is that Guerrero has such flair that he might step up in this situation, but I'm going to try not to overthink this. I'm not too confident about it, but I'm going to make Alonso my pick as a single.
Well, I'm taking a different approach. Because this is the home run derby, I'm just going to make this pick my home run because that is what you're aiming for in a home run derby. I'm taking Pete Alonso with this one. This year, Alonso's hit 28 dingers and 306 at-bats. It's a rate of about 1 home run per 11 ABs. Guerrero, meanwhile, 8 home runs in 206 at-bats, which is a rate of 1 per 26 plate appearances, or at-bats, rather. Both rookies, so I looked at their minor league numbers too. Each player's best minor league season was 2018. Guerrero's numbers were better with a home run every 17.9 at-bats, 20 dingers for the year. Alonso, 36 home runs last year, 478 at-bats, rate of 1 for every 13 plus. The one spot where Guerrero did have the advantage is total bases, slugging percentage. He had a 636 slugging percentage last year in the minors. Alonso's just 579. But those home run abilities, those numbers, got to go with Alonso on it, making it the home run pick because it's a home run derby. If there was ever a pick to just go, you know what, it's a home run, forget the confidence rating, it's picking a home run derby. So Alonso as the home run. Taylor, which rookie phenom are you taking here?
I'll make it 3 for 3 with Pete Alonso. Just his season speaks for itself. Not that really matters with the Derby. It's really a crapshoot. Vlad's swing may well play up to the Derby. He's got kind of an uppercut type thing. And you never know with this kind of thing. I'm not confident either. I'm making it my single, but I'll go with Alonso here.
All right, pick number 3, the All-Star Game itself. National League against the American League. Only one can win. Though technically we have seen the teams tie in the past, twice actually. The question is AL or NL to pick up the win. I'm going first, making this my single, taking the American League. It's an all-star game, so trying to come up with pitching matchups or bringing down depth of lineups isn't really, it's not just that it's not guaranteed to help, it's probably going to be counterproductive. Instead, I'm looking historically. The AL has won 24 of the 30 all-star games that haven't ended in a tie since 1988. They're 11-4 in games where the designated hitter was in effect overall. Of course, the first time that happened, I believe, was 1989. The American League has won 6 straight meetings overall, now holds an all-time series lead of 44 wins, 43 losses, and 2 ties. Because it's an all-star game, I don't think anyone can really be certain of the outcome, but I'm going to take the American League. I'm going to make it my single. Taylor, how do you see this one playing out?
So I went into it thinking I would take the AL because they have had a ton of success lately, but I don't know if a year-to-year thing has any impact since it's different teams and all this, but it's really a toss-up just like the Derby. I thought the overall pitching staff for the NL looks a bit better. You got Scherzer, DeGrom, Kershaw, Ryu, Buehler, Josh Hader's in there. So, obviously both teams are stacked. There's really no telling what's going to happen. I'll just take the National League as my double.
Jim, where are you going with it?
Yeah, I'm going to echo Taylor's pick, National League as my double. Kind of looking at it, I looked at the matchups in terms of the National League. It seems to me has a little bit more flexibility in terms of balance with left-handed and right-handed hitters, and I think that might come into play late in the game. So hard to tell, obviously. There's also a couple players in the American League that I think would have helped them. Chris Sale not there, Aaron Judge not there, guys like that. So maybe the AL not quite as representative as it might otherwise be. This is so hard, and I just have a feeling about the National League in this one, and I'm going to make it my double.
Last one to complete the cycle. This is going to be a long-term pick, so the payoff won't be here for a few months. We talk every week, including in just a few minutes, about which teams we think stand the best chance of paying out on odds to win the AL and NL pennants. At the unofficial halfway point, there are 4 teams currently posting odds so incredibly distant that a single dollar wager would pay $2,500 should that team miraculously win the pennant. All 4 of these American League teams are currently posting at plus 250,000 odds. Kansas City Royals, Baltimore Orioles, Toronto Blue Jays, and Detroit Tigers. 2 teams in the AL East, 2 teams in the AL Central. Question here is which of these teams will finish the season closest to a playoff spot? This is games back of either their division winner or the second wildcard spot in their respective league, which for all of these teams is the AL. So Taylor, which of these 4 terrible teams will come the closest to making the playoffs at season's end?
So I typically think run differential is a pretty decent way to measure a team. Baltimore has the league's worst at minus 170. The Tigers aren't that far behind at minus 148. I think Toronto and Baltimore have the disadvantage of playing in the AL East, where you have Tampa Bay, Boston, and New York playing, I assume, pretty heavy schedules with the AL East down the stretch. So I think neither of those teams really has much of a chance. It comes down to Detroit or Kansas City. The Royals have the best run differential of the group at minus 72, and the Central on the whole is worse than the East. Once you get past Minnesota and kind of Cleveland, it's really thin. So it's a trash division overall. This is a gross bet, but I'm having to put a lot of confidence in it because we're doing all-star stuff. So I'm taking Kansas City as my triple.
Jim.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Toronto, and crazily enough, I'm going to make that my home run. Taylor made a lot of good points about the division, but just looking at the lineups right now, Toronto keeps bringing up these young guys that keep performing very well. Obviously, Gurriel is red hot. BGO has been great since they brought him up. Don't know if we'll see Bo Bichette before the season's over, but he's a possibility as well. Just their lineup from top to bottom looks the best. I think they have the best starting pitcher out of this group with Stroman, although he's possibly could get traded. They also have the best closer with Giles. Again, he could possibly get traded. So this is a tough one. But I just felt looking at the lineups, Toronto really stands out compared to the others in this group. So I'm going to go with the Blue Jays, and believe it or not, I'm going to make it my home run.
All right. Well, I'm going to take Toronto just like Jim, and I'm making it my double. I'm using process of elimination here. Of the four teams, the Orioles have by far the worst run differential, -170, the worst expected win-loss record at 27-57, and the worst actual record at 24-60, so they're out. Detroit, not much better, -150 run differential. They're the only team in this bunch with an expected win-loss record that's worse than their actual record, so they're out. Toronto and Kansas City, pretty similar, comparable run differentials, nearly identical expected win-loss records. So the biggest difference for me here is where they stand right now. The Blue Jays have a 3-game edge on the Royals since the expected win-loss records are so tight. I've got to take the team that has the current edge in the standings, however slight that might be. And even though, when you're playing in a division with the Yankees, with the Rays, with the Red Sox, that's going to be a little bit tougher. But they do get to play Baltimore 13 times between now and the end of the season. Kansas City only gets to play Detroit 10 times between now and the end of the season. So those 3 games, the 3-game current difference in the standings, got to go Toronto, making it my double. Low confidence, but hey, we'll see. We'll meet back up here in October and see how this panned out. Before we wrap things up, we're checking back in on our World Series picks. Last week, I updated my selections to take Minnesota and Atlanta. The Twins were at +320, the Braves at +300. Minnesota is now at +450, so I'm going to just take those odds and run with them now. Atlanta +280, so I'm going to stick with the +300 odds that I picked up there. Taylor, you've locked in the Astros and the Dodgers +140, +170 respectively. Astros currently +180. The Dodgers now +110. I'd assume you'd like the better odds on Houston, but any changes that you'd like to make?
Yeah, I'll take the +180 on Houston while sticking with the Dodgers. I think they'll both probably make some moves as the deadline comes up later this month. It's really hard for me to go away from it, so I'm just going to stick with it right now. And it's nice to get a little bump in the Houston odds.
Jim, you locked in the Yankees and the Dodgers. Already went over LA's movement. The Yankees went from +230 when you grabbed them. They're now +160. Any changes you'd like to make?
No, I'm going to stick with it. I feel a little bit more confident about the Yankees if we got definitive notice on Severino. It seems like he's still up in the air. But like Taylor said, I think the Yankees also will be making trades and probably bringing in starting pitchers. So I think we'll know more then between the Yankees and the Astros. The Dodgers, I'm pretty confident in the Dodgers. They're not going anywhere as the big favorite. So I'm going to stick with those 2 teams.
That'll do it for this week's edition of Betting for the Cycle. Be sure to check back next week where we'll show you the stats of how we did and give you our latest picks. For Jim Baviglia and Taylor Smith, I'm Drew Goldfarb. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.